should I be ashamed? We've had a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, but we are yet ready to have this great conversation with you. I have tonight my cousin Eunice Buffington. She is the family tree buff, and I'm going to have her to introduce herself tonight as we get into this conversation. Am I my sister's keeper? Eunice, would you just share with us a little bit about you tonight?
Hello, everyone. I am Eunice Buffington, the family tree buff. I am a counselor and generational life coach, as well as a genealogist and family historian. I've spent 12 years researching my family and uncovering generational trauma and generational dysfunction that's passed down from generation to generation, and working hard to be this change agent involved in making a change in those generational traumas that we pass down from generation to generation.
Wow, thank you so much. Welcome. We are so appreciative that you came in to speak with us tonight and share. And I know there's going to be great impartation because, as she said, that she is also a counselor. She's give good therapy and just good information. So, am I my sister's keeper is our subject tonight. Would you like and share and make sure that you reach out to some of your friends on Facebook and hit us up and share, because we want everyone, anybody that has a secret or no secrets tonight. I think this is going to be good for you tonight. First of all, how do we define a secret? I would define a secret as something hidden, or maybe a private thought, maybe private information. How would you define a secret, Eunice?
It's a secret thought, action, or deed.
Great. Well, listen, we're going to take 1 minute for you to like and share, and we're going to come right back and we're going to dig in deep. Am I my sister's keeper? And I want each of you to think about that, meditate on that just for a second. Welcome back, Facebook family and friends, our sisters and brothers. We're just so glad to be in conversation with you tonight. I'm asking a question tonight. Am I my sister's keeper? Most of us are familiar with the story with Cain and Abel, when God came to the garden after Cain had murdered his brother and said, "Hey, where is your brother?" And he answered God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" We're going to switch it up a little bit tonight because I want to kind of open up about our conversation that we have about abuse. And we're talking, I'm the author of Why Should I Be Ashamed? So my question tonight, and I want to talk about, do I keep my sister's secret? In the case of my sibling, in the case of my friend, in the case of my brother, how do we keep secrets? When do we keep these secrets in the world around us? How extreme? When do we hold on and when do we let go? I wanted to use for illustration. And as me and Eunice was talking a little bit earlier, when a person is in when a person has shared their life story with you or shared some personal thought with you, when is it a time? And you all let me know. Ask Miss Eunice some questions. Ask me some questions. Eunice, when is it a time to be your sister's let your sister's secret out?
Uh, I can't say that there's an exact time, and I would like to go back a little bit. And let's say, what is a keeper? Let's define first what is a keeper.
Okay.
What are we expected to keep? So, and if we go back and define what is a keeper is a person whose job it is to guard or take care of something, someone, some object, something, some idea, some thought. That's what a keeper is. That person is empowered or entrusted to take care of something. So, in being my sister's keeper, am I entrusted to keep a secret that is hurting a sister? Our sister. If that secret is something that is detrimental to her, then I think it's important that we allow our sisters. And being a keeper means keeping that, guarding that person until they are able to reveal that secret.
Well, I've said a person who is there when you need them, and like you said, and they take responsibility in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're talking about, oftentimes I use this form to talk about sexual abuse. When we're talking about negative and abusiveness, oftentimes there were people in my life that knew the secret, but they act as if they had no idea until they wanted to use it against the and I'll share in my story, they wanted to use it against someone, but there were many people that knew it really wasn't a secret, but there was still a silence about it. And would things have been different if those that was my keeper had taken responsibility to do something more than just chatter, warm chatter around the family, around oftentimes in the different venue, different places, in churches and things like that. What should have been their responsibility? What should have happened?
Their responsibility to a child should have been a part of that child's village. So as each person, we owe to children to be a part of their village, and their village supports them, uplifts them, feeds them, encourages them, and protects them. Those people, and I've had it in my life, I had similar experiences as well in my life, where the people who were supposed to protect and be a part of the village were the people who was the oppressor, the abuser, the hurt, that was providing the hurt.
Well, there were adults that I remember that they would more. I remember being in a household where there was one woman downstairs in the basement, and it was about 6 men raping her, and the women was upstairs. Some of their girlfriends were upstairs walking around the house, not saying a word, never called the police. She finally just came upstairs, and one after another, these guys had raped her, and no one said anything. And matter of fact, she lived a couple houses down. She went back home, and then she came right back down there as if it was a part of that community, and none of those women said anything. And I had just came from school. I was like 16, 17. I was like, what's going on? And I just couldn't believe that everyone sat there upstairs while one woman is being held and raped.
Wow.
And in the community, no one police, no one said anything. It was almost like the norm. And what it says to me is that this had happened before. These things had oftentimes happened. I think about even when I was telling my mother about my hurt and my issues, it was like she just turned a deaf ear. And I wasn't trying to keep it a secret. As a matter of fact, I used to go tell every time I would find out things in the family, and I would go tell somebody that I thought could do something about it. And sometimes they would maybe have a cussing out or say, that's a shame why y'all do that. And then that was it.
So, and then maybe the conversation has to be had about people who hold it in. So, similar to you, and I'll tell this briefly. When I was 5 years old, my abuse started when I was 5 years old. So, from the time I was 5 years old, some male figure was abusing me sexually, and so I had no inkling about sex. Didn't even know what that was. Didn't have a word for that. I just knew this person was doing something to me in my private areas that I did not like, and it was very painful, and I did not like. When I told my mother, her initial reaction was, sit down somewhere, you're being fast. At 5, fast to me mean I can run real fast. In my mind, what does she mean? Because for one, she scolded me. She didn't take me in and say what happened. She scolded me. So as soon as I told her, it was a scolding. What was you doing? Sit your little fast A down somewhere. And so fast to me mean run fast. And so I put the pieces together wrong, and it meant if he ever tried to touch me again, I got to run real fast.
Wow.
And that's how I formulated my 5-year-old mind. But there's some onus in owning that maybe my mother didn't know what to do with that information. Didn't know what to do with, because she had never been taught what to do with that information when you find out somebody that's an adult, that is having improper relations, touchings, doing something to a child, or some person who cannot commit on their own to do that, and didn't know what to do. And so I think we have to peel back the layer again to understand why. Why are we not being keepers of our children, our sisters, in our communities? Why are we not? Why can we not be the keeper?
Do you think that's where so much of the breaking and the division with women and with sisterhood has come? Not only did you told, but then you didn't do anything, and it seems like there is is it a dishonor, or the word I'm trying to find when it comes to sisterhood, a distrust.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the use of telling any of you? And when you think about our mothers or women in that era or in that time, and even today's woman, they're it's like not just sexual abuse, but you could be battered, or a lot of these things that are sexual was just so hidden. But I think it brings a divide, and it brings a frustration when it comes to being your keeper. I don't want to be your keeper. You got too many issues. Is that what our mother said? I couldn't handle my own stuff, and now I don't know what to do. So I'm going to just tell you, go over there and shut up, really is what they said.
Right. And that's what happened. That in essence what happened to me, what happened to you, what happens to other people, and it's happening every day until we learn how to look at that hurt. I think for our parents, they did not know what to do with that information. To say that for my initial first abuse was my mother's best friend's boyfriend, and we were staying with her best friend. So now if I tell my best friend that your boyfriend is touching my child, I have to leave and take all 5 of my kids. I don't have anywhere to go. So I don't know the rationale, but I think we have to peel back that layer and understand what is in us that makes us feel that we have to, at the expense of somebody who's been abused, to hold that in, at the expense of a child. In my situation, in your situation, at the expense of a child, to hold that in. And so that becomes a festering sore, because I went to Mom, and Mommy said, Mommy did nothing.
And if Mama didn't do nothing, that probably means there's no one else going to do anything. I'm wondering, is that why sometimes it's hard for us to really be good friends? And as I did in my children's life, I overcompensated being protective in a sexual area. Can I be a good friend? Do I want to be a keeper? Am I able? And I noticed that so many women that are sexual abused, and some of them are still yet processing. I'm like in my 60s, but I look at some of them, and they're still keeping the secret. I mean, I just talked to a young lady last couple weeks ago, and she's still keeping the secret, and they have not had the discussion with their living father. And I was trying to help her through a situation with her job, and I told her, I said, you take a deep breath. You got so much anger, and she don't understand. She thinks she's frustrated at her job, but she's really got so much unresolved on the inside of her that it almost sounds like, when she's even asking me for help, it sounds like an attack. Have you ever experienced that? It sounds like she want to just attack you and attack everybody, and she don't even know that she's really not processing her pain.
Wow.
And we just gonna keep it a secret. What do we do with that?
And one of the things of growth, one of the things that I've learned of growth, nothing is more compromising than never changing. One of the things of growth is learning to own our own truth. And in owning that truth, it's almost like taking off layers of shame, layers of guilt. When you own that truth that it happened to me, in whatever the context that is, with owning your own truth, whatever your part was in it, or it happened to you, for me, that took away the shame and embarrassment, because I was a child.
But listen,
it happened to me.
Listen, but okay, this person is still alive. I think she don't know. She feels that in order to talk about it, in order to address it, it's going to be a problem. But you got to take care of you. You got to fix you. You might can't fix the person that did it to you. You may not be able to fix your mother. You may not be able to counsel for them. But you got to do something for yourself. However, for her to get set free, whatever she needs to do, and we'll get into some of the talking of tips for revealing secrets. But the pain of it, they don't want to hurt somebody else. And I think that's a lot of, like you say, your mother didn't want to tell the girlfriend because the boyfriend, and that stacks layers and layers of, do you have a place to go? What do we tell these young women today? Now, what do we tell them when they having these secrets? How do they get some healing? Let me say this. I had a young lady that I hadn't been talking to, and so we started back talking. She's my sister, and she does a thing. She'll ask you for someone's telephone number, and then she'll ask you for it again next week, then ask you for it. So, I always tell her we'll write it down. So we just got back in each other's life, and I told her, I said, no, I don't do that anymore. I'm not going to keep telephone. I'm not going to be a telephone book. And so, because I've grown, I don't have to stay there. You can't keep taking me back to your unresolved issue. And that's what I would tell my daughter friend, You cannot allow your father, your brother, your sisters to keep you in a place when you're trying to get healed and you're trying to recover. It's no longer a secret, and you're no longer shamed. I don't know where she want to tell it or how she want to get her story out, but it's time to let it go. It's no longer a secret. So let me ask you this. Okay. This is another extreme. How much of a sister keeper do I have to be for you? How much? Okay. I got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Cause some people, you always be my sister, but you never available, and you may always be sick, but I may not always be the one to be your nurse. How far do we go with this, my sister keeper thing? I mean, like me and my friend, we call each other, do you want to go walk? I can't make her get up and go walk. She can't make me. We're accountable, and we go and we make ourselves available. If she says she can't go, I got to go on my own. But you have these people, they want you to carry the load, pick them up, wake them up, shake them up. They want you to go to the job interview for them. They want you to give them a ride to the interview. They wanted you to give them the dress to the interview. I mean, there comes a time the burdens just get too heavy. Am I really my sister's keeper? I'm telling you, Eunice, I'm tired of keeping some folks. And I don't want people to get tired of me now, but I'm tired of keeping some folks. And I try not to be a heavy load. So how much of my sister's keeper? I mean, how much do I got it? How do they be kept? Yeah, they want to be a kept woman. I can't keep you.
That's a little more. That's a little extra. That's more than a bit being accountable or being helping someone to guard or take care of someone. That's a bit much. Yeah.
Okay, let's give some tips. Now, I want to share a little bit of my books, and then me and Miss Eunice is we're gonna get into some tips. I want to tell y'all on page 47 of my book, Why Should I Be Ashamed? Make sure you get you a copy. It says, I remember one Friday, Nana got so upset with Laos that she said to my mother, Grace, he's just waiting on Sheila to grow up. Now, see, that was exposure. His mother knew it. This woman was 52 years old. She knew it, but they would wait till they get upset and say it. She kept repeating it over and over. Laos became infuriated at his mother for letting the cat out of the bag. And he gathered us up, me, my sister, my mom, and we left. A few years later, I found out that Laos had been reporting my maturity, my sexuality, and the development of my body to his mother. And then I'm going to go over here to page 128. We should never wish pain on anyone. Catch and deliver no way. The commonly used saying, misery loves company, is used too far often. If it causes you pain, why would you wish it on anyone else? You know, we all have different levels of faith and strength, and some people may never recover from the misery we wish upon them. We cannot allow women to be victimized in our communities. Let us care for one another. Even if you've never experienced rape or molestation, you still can strengthen those who have been victims. I remember I was at my stepbrother's house. He's gone on. He used to be a real criminal, always up to something. I just came over to visit. There was a girl laying in the bed. She had just had a relation with one of the boys, and they had left and ran. She's still laying in the bed, and he's walking around. He was like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to go get her," and I told her, "Get up out that bed," because he wanted me to give him permission to
go to take advantage of her. Oh my goodness.
He wanted me to say, "Go ahead, I'll watch." I told her, "No, get up out that bed." And that's what needs to happen in our families, We
Mhm.
need to be our sister's keeper and do more than just pray church. Because see, y'all has used that I'ma pray and you forgot to pray. You didn't even pray when you said you was gonna pray. That's not working. You have to take responsibility and do something and say something in these kind of situations.
Right, and you have to be intentional about doing something, um, and intentional and authentic about actually doing and saying something to stop the transmission of this kind of trauma again and again in our lives and our families and with our youth.
Why do we keep these painful secrets if we're harboring secrets that's hurting people? If I know that I have someone in my household that is gonna cause pain to the neighborhood. I had a client when I lived in Minnesota. Her name was Sheila. Her her brother was a serial killer in Chicago. The grandmother took one of the dead bodies. See, this stuff is real. Took one of the dead bodies up and hid it. I don't know if she was scared of the boy, but she probably could have got away from him and went and called the police. But they wind up both going to jail, and my client was ashamed to come in, and it wasn't even her shame. But how do you cover up? I mean, I guess you're blinded by relationships. So you love your son or daughter or person that much that you will cover up for them. You're blinded. So we're going to keep a secret that strong that's going to cause a whole neighbor. This man is out serial killing people. And this is what is going on, and this is we need to have strength to tell. We need to have strength to give warning. We need to have strength to, if you can't stop the person, you need to have a conversation or find some help or find some therapy. I'm going to say this. These are just a few tips for some of you that are holding your secrets in tonight. And we're just got ourselves out here vulnerable, exposing. Eunice talked about being a 5-year-old. I think mine started around that age. Not being shamed. But it took some time for us to get past these situations. And one thing I want to say to you, I'm going to give you a tip. I would say write your secret on a piece of paper, even if no one ever reads it or say it out loud. It might make you feel better and prepare you for a moment. Prepare you for the moment you reveal it. If you write it down, say it out loud, and just say, I'm going to tell.
Another tip in revealing a secret is decide where to reveal your secret. Should it be in a public place or behind closed doors? And that just depends on what that secret is. But another tip is deciding where. Where do you want to reveal this at?
Where? Yes. Another thing, I think Travell, Minister Travell has a question. Oh, let me see. First Lady Shelby, what you say to relative that's been covering up the abuse for family members? Is that a question? What I say to them, if we could have a conversation, if you look back at some of the events that we've had here, I would say have a conversation, get a therapist to come in and sit with you, and they have to put the blame where the blame goes. Make that person become responsible, and then make the knowledge of it to the whole family. Don't let there be somebody in your family that does that, and your sister don't know about it, your brother don't know about it, but they have that person around their children. See, that is totally wrong. The family should come together. Even if they didn't want them there, they should come together and have a discussion and learn how to build and make that environment where that person is able to fess up, or at least that mother or sister or daughter can say something. Eunice, you had something?
Yes, or at least the person can get some help. A lot of abusers were abused, and it's just a cycle. It's a cycle of trauma, and they don't know what to do with the abuse that they had, and so they become an abuser. And so the family member that knows about an abuser that's been an abuser in the family, with sexual abuse, domestic abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, a lot of the abusers, they were abused before. And so allowing the abuser to take ownership of your actions and placing that ownership on the abuser,
Yes.
to get that onus and to get some help, really is the answer, is the beginning of change.
Yeah, and I think Eunice have a lot of compassion. I think a lot of them is just mean, and they've allowed their pain to turn into bitterness and wickedness, because we could have allowed our pain to turn into some really, really crazy things too. And you can't allow your pain. You got to get healing and delivered. What would I say to a brother or uncle that has committed sexual abuse against a child in the family? What I would have a conversation with them, so because they need to stop it. It has to come to an end. I would say you need to turn yourself in. Well, first, let's just start with the conversation and see if we can get you some repairing.
Right, the conversation, so they understand the effect of their actions.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't even realize the long-term effect of their action. So the abuse, say the abuse was a 1 or 2 time thing. So the abuse was 1 or 2 times, and the abuser think it only happened once. I only did it twice. And so they try to absolve themselves of any real responsibility, because they can erase that and say, I only did it 1 time. I only did it 2 times. But for the person that's being abused, that trauma repeats itself over and over and over in their mind. If you never reconcile with that trauma repeated, and it's like that sore, even though it's covered up, it keeps festering and festering and festering. And so for the abuser to understand and know the effect of your abuse. I'm 55 years old, 56 years old, and I was 5 when it happened. And it still affects me. It affects my relationships. It still affects me. So for the abuser to know the long-term effects that they have.
I say all the time it's a life sentence, because I know that it has changed the trajectory of our lives, but yet we have strength to move different. I would like to also say, as I always said, this is not a black people's problem. This is not a white people, purple people, Chinese people. But I will say that I find with the Caucasian women, they're even more silent. It's like we try sometimes. When I come in company with them, it seems like black women will just let it out or share it. Oftentimes, but with them, they'll say, well, it's almost like it didn't happen, but it did happen, but they don't ever want to discuss it again. And they've learned to just cover it up and just move on through life. But yet that pain still comes, that like you say, that infection, it still comes out. And I just want them also, all people, to be free tonight to share your story, tell somebody. And you may say, well, why keep digging up this sore? Well, it's not that we're trying to dig up sores. We are open and sharing because there are young ladies, there are children right now that are dealing with this issue, that we may be in our 60s. She's 55, I'm 61, but you got girls that are 15, 14, 12, and they're afraid. They're getting ready to be destructive in their life because of the shame of this sexual abuse, of the effect of the sexual abuse. Another tips for revealing the secrets: decide if it's better for you to be impulsive or if it's better to plan what you are going to say and how it is said. And you are welcome to reach out, DM me, DM Eunice. She's a therapist. She'll talk you through it. I can they call you DM you?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we are here to support you and help you and let you know that you are not poison. You are not filthy. You are worthy of to be healed. You are worthy to recover. What is the next one, Eunice? And I don't know if you wanted to say something about deciding if it's better to be impulsive or is it better to plan. And I think you should plan it. You're not just go out and just start hollering.
Right. I think most people, because this is something traumatic. Most people
It's very
will
traumatic.
Kind of will plan and not be impulsive about it. But I will say, if you feel very emotional about it, then wait till you can calm down a bit. And that is part of that planning and not being impulsive, is to wait till you can calm down a bit, where you're able to communicate and you can think clearly and speak clearly and articulate your thoughts. Is the best time to share that. Just bringing it up, and that doesn't matter how many years ago it happened. Bringing it up, when you bring that back to your frontal memory, it brings about pain. And so and that pain brings about emotions. Those same emotions you felt when it was happening, those emotions will come back. And so you have to be prepared for those emotions to come flooding back. And you want to be in a place where you can communicate, and it's not an impulsive place where you're better playing where you reveal and tell those secrets at.
Great. Also, you may want to explain to a person the reason why you kept a secret. This will help him or her understand better. Sometimes it will, but I've heard people that came out. I think Bishop was on here. He said some women were in their 60s and 70s, and people say to me, "There's never been abuse." Well, why did you wait so long? Or I would have told them, and I said, "No, you wouldn't have." It's easy to say, but no one. Whenever you get ready to reveal this secret or share your story, it is your story to tell, and it is your freedom. And it is your healing that that we want to be free. It is not necessary, even though it may have an effect on other people in your life. And sometimes you be shocked, you be surprised that grandfathers later on shift and take on these kind of behaviors or these patterns. And I would just say, you can't always explain to people why we do what we do, why we waited, why did I wait so long to write this book? I can't tell you why.
It's a process. We're going through a process, and every person is different. Every experience is different. Every person's trauma is different. So it's a process, and so for some people, they don't know what to do with that secret. For years, I was ashamed. So I can tell you why. For years, I held on because I was ashamed until I learned to understand I didn't do it to me. Somebody did it to me. So on that one, each person have different reasons why. And why and at what time that they're able to be able to verbalize. Sometimes it's hard to even verbalize, to put into words the how you. For me to put in words how I was shattered at 5, it's hard to put that in words.
And listen, I remember even writing this book, and then then other memories began to come back. And I want to say to some of you out there, this may not be the time for you to. We just want you to know that it's okay. We want to let you know it is okay to tell your story. It is okay to write your story down. It is okay. Find you someone that you can sit and talk with. And I know we take on the charge of the family member, the abuser, and that is too much. When you're already carrying around the pain, and then you have to carry that you don't want them to hurt. You don't want them to have to mess up their relationship, mess up their fake story. But the truth will make everybody free. And oftentimes, when we talk about secrets, sometimes those women, those men, somebody knew about that secret. Because I believe when his mother was saying to him, he's waiting on Sheila, she probably had experienced her own son's dysfunction somewhere else in his life.
Maybe.
Maybe, possible.
Very well so. Very well so, yes.
And the last one is say, be prepared to listen. We must listen to each other. The worst thing you can do is when someone begin to tell their story, say, tell a kid that they're lying, tell a person that they're not being honest. Allow them to tell their story, even if it's disappointing, even if it's disappointing in your family situation. Learn to be a listener. Learn to let people let things out. And I believe, do you think there's ever a time, Eunice, as we're closing, do you think there's ever a time that a person should not verbalize? I'm not saying that you got to go down the street and tell everybody, but do you think they should just, I've heard people say, I'm going to take it to my grave. Everybody's journey is different. But I think if you want to tell it, you need to find somewhere to go tell that story. What do you say about that?
I absolutely think everybody should have the opportunity and be able to tell their truth. And that's the only way we heal ourselves. That's the only way we are able to heal. That's the way that sore starts to finally heal, when you get all the sickness out of it. And that's being able to tell that unvarnished truth. This happened to me, or whatever that situation was. And that's the only way you'll be able to get that pain out, is to be able to tell your truth. So I think everybody should have that opportunity.
What do you think about a sister that had sex with her brother for years, but she's going to wait till her mother die before she tell her true story? That's her journey, huh?
Every journey is different. And so I certainly would say, I hope there was no children brought in this relationship, but I certainly would say at some point she has to own their own truth. And both parties in that situation, two siblings in an incestual relationship, at some point has to own their truth. And hopefully there's no children products of those relationships.
Well, in my life, I've personally spoke to two people that had dealt with that situation, and there are no children. And let me say this, a lot of work in therapy is about omitting secrets, and a lot of times that's what we do. We go, we sit, and to ourselves and to those who we care about. This opens the door to deeper communication, empowers you, and creates the kind of connection we all want in relationship. We want true relationships, and sometimes we can't move forward. You can't love forward. You bottled up. You can't function forward holding all these secrets. If secrets have been hurting your relationship, please don't hesitate to call us, schedule a time to talk with us, find someone to talk to, and get that pain and get free. I feel free tonight. I appreciate you so much, Eunice, for coming on here and speaking with us, and just being so transparent about your story. And to those of you that may have never had to deal with such things, I'm very happy for you. And to those of us that has, and those of you that has kept it a secret this long, it may be difficult to share, but you can do it. You can get that strength, and I believe it will help, it will heal, it will deliver, it will bring just great breakthrough, major in my life. And that's why I do what I do, because I want to see you free. I want to see you move forward in love, in your relationships, Do you have any last words for us, Mr. Therapist, Miss Eunice, the family tree buff? Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much, Cousin Sheila, for inviting me to be on, and thank you to your viewers and your listeners. And if you have any questions, anybody want to hit me up on chat later, please feel free to do so.
So we are our sister's keeper. And I want to tell you, hold on to your sisters. Encourage your sisters and your brothers. Let's do right by each other. And if you see someone that has a secret that's got them in pain, find someone else to walk you with that and help you be strong, and find you someone else, and you both can go tell that secret for that person. We're here to heal and to help. Good evening. Have a great evening. Until next Tuesday, God bless you. And be good. Have a great evening. God is healer. Awesome and power.